Welcome to the Washdown podcast. And on today's episode, we had Dwayne Franklin Jr. come and talk, and it was a great episode. He is a career firefighter, also the owner of Franklin Firearms. We talked about a lot of stuff, mental health, firearm safety, all kinds of stuff. It was a great episode. Hope you guys enjoy it. So like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But here you go, the Washdown podcast with special guest DJ Franklin.
Stupid shit. Sometimes it gets picked up, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm good with answering questions, but I'm not good with just making up stuff. Like just
right
just
into
talking.
the mic.
Yeah, just talking. So if you guys want to ask me questions, I can answer them, then we're good to go.
Okay.
So
well, we keep this very much like the kitchen table.
Okay.
The firehouse.
Yeah.
So it's a conversation. It's not really an interview per se.
Okay.
I mean, obviously we'll have questions for you, but I mean, they'll just come up in the course of conversation.
Right.
So,
Sounds good. Sounds great. Yeah.
We'll just have you introduce yourself and, welcome to the show, DJ.
Right. So when I introduce myself, am I talking about like just about myself or
Well, I mean,
just my name? That's it.
Sure.
Okay.
Like what you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think get the carrot and kind of lead them a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. That's yeah.
So
And by carrot, I mean ammo.
right.
here's your target.
Right. There you go. See? Yep. That's it.
So no, I mean, obviously, Dwayne Franklin Jr.
Yep.
You go by DJ.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the fire department.
Right.
Also
A business owner.
a business
Yep.
owner.
All right.
1, 2, 3, go.
All right. That's cool. I'm noticing my voice down there, and it's not hitting that range. So,
It'll probably be okay.
all right.
So, yeah, we'll just go and see. You can move it down. Just move your mic down just a little bit because you're kind of there. You go.
Sorry.
COVID. Well, I heard that you were sitting by Hicks. Hicks was sick with COVID now.
Wait, I mean, he did cough on me. We shared a
Right.
donut, some drinks.
Oh my god.
I was like, maybe I shouldn't do this podcast.
No, so I was worried about that too. I mean, I don't care about getting it,
Yeah.
but I was like, son of a bitch.
Right.
It's not that I want to get sick. I'm just not gonna run from it.
Right.
And I haven't had a symptom. I haven't felt, and neither has my wife. So
Right.
I was like, whatever. I think we're good.
Yeah.
I've had it like 17 times, so whatever.
Yeah.
I'm the record holder.
Yeah.
The record holder for COVID. That's
It's probably a thing though. It's probably in the Guinness Book of Records so
Probably
far.
is.
probably.
Well, the last time I had it was I didn't even realize I had it. I had a sinus infection, and it was a friend of ours had it, and she was at the house. I'm like, we'll go get tested just in case. And I think somebody on the job maybe get tested, and it came back positive. I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't, it's not that I was sick, and it's not like I've never had a sinus infection before.
Yeah. Well, the problem is it's like every symptom can be COVID.
Yeah.
Right.
Runny nose, scratchy throat, like, I mean, the big thing is if you lose your sense of taste and smell, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh shit, okay, I know what this is. Because
Right.
that doesn't typically happen. But yeah, I mean, if you're prone to sinus infections,
Which
or,
I am.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, all three of us sitting here,
Right,
are,
yeah.
Well, the best part was, so we worked, and then the next day, it rained overnight. So I woke up, and I was stuffy, and I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Really? So I took an allergy pill, and I was like, I'm good. So it cleared up. But when it rains like that, after being dry, you're going to get,
yeah.
so I went over. Don't worry, man, I'm good.
Right. It's all right. Yeah. Mine is cold bunk rooms. So cold bunk rooms
Yeah.
give me stuffy nose and everything like that.
Yeah.
Through COVID, I thought I had COVID every single week. and I did have COVID a couple times, but it just, yeah.
It's like every shift, I
was like, oh man, I'm sneezing, coughing, runny nose, hawking up stuff. But I did have an infection. At the first time I had COVID, had an infection for 2 years straight. The doctors finally called it. That's why I had surgery, and I was off for 2 months, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got the infection out. And yeah, they said I had it for 2 years.
Oh.
in my nasal cavity.
That's a lot of antibiotics.
It was. I took 6 rounds over a 2-year period.
Did you take different ones too?
Yes, I took 2 different ones. I couldn't take the one that was supposed to work.
Yeah,
because I'm allergic to it. I took that once. Found out I was allergic to it, and they never prescribed it again. So, yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah.
New problem starts.
So-
Right, my esophagus swelled up.
I can fix that. I can fix that.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
I bet you feel a lot better now, though.
I do. I mean, I still have some mucus, but I'm pretty well off. So,
The surgery seemed to help too.
the surgery sucked, but the surgery I could breathe a lot better. I should say. I mean, my nose was stopped up for 2 years straight. So both nostrils basically. So
Pass.
yeah, it sucked.
I don't want that.
My nostrils have been stopped up for like 10 years.
Well, you notice his nose sits off center.
Yeah,
Well,
you know,
It happens when it gets broken.
Yeah.
You know? It's probably been broken before.
several.
Yeah, so
I've
that's why,
lost
yeah.
count of how many
Yeah.
times.
So I had a deviated nose septum also. So they went in and they actually broke the cartilage and bone to open it back up again so I could breathe.
That's what my wife had.
Yeah.
That was fun to watch them take the little strips they put on the inside out.
Yeah.
Because she had like one stitch on each side of the septum.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, all right, we're just going to pull it out. And this long fucking, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't ready for how long and thick that piece of plastic was.
Yeah, they stick it way up there.
It was on
Way
both
up
sides.
there. Yeah.
I'll just deal with it.
It
I'll breathe out
sucks.
of one nostril, and
It's a horrible
If you-
process.
If you listen, he'll start whistling.
Oh, yeah. If you want to cut off my air, you just close one nostril. And
All it takes is a piece of cotton,
Yep,
a tampon.
just
What's
one. You know, oddly enough, though, as many times as my nose has been broken, it really doesn't bleed whenever it gets broke. It's weird. It did the first time.
Yeah.
I got hit in the face with a medicine ball whenever I was like 14,
Yeah.
and it bled a little bit then, but doesn't really bleed. It gets broken. It's just, oh, hey, it's fucking broke again.
Yeah.
You got to dodge, man. When people throw a punch, you got to move the head.
I don't
bob
know,
and weave.
I don't know the 5 Ds of dodgeball.
Right.
And I'm not great at dodging wrenches. I found
Right.
that out working on my Jeep.
It bounced off the ground, didn't it?
No,
You
it
threw it on the
bounced
ground being
straight
mad.
off of my face.
Right.
No. So this is actually it's a pretty hilarious story. And my nose did bleed a lot this time. I was up underneath I had a 95 YJ, and I was changing out the rear bumper. And I was at the station. So I had all but like 1-2 bolts out. And I get the socket on this thing, and I'm fucking pulling on it, and I can't get like a good angle. So I'm finally like laying, and I've got it, and I'm pulling down. Well, the socket, the nut was rounded or some, I don't know. It was a 95 YJ, so it was like 20 years old. Well, the socket slides right off of that, but comes down and hits me right square in the nose.
Jeez.
And I knew immediately that was bad.
Yeah. Yeah. The pain.
Yeah, the pain was, my eyes teared up, and I like set up, and my captain at the time was sitting on the couch watching me do all this, and he's like, "Oh," and so I just stood up and it started fucking bleeding pretty good, and I pinched it off, and it pretty much stopped. But yeah, I sat there with an ice pack on my face for probably about 2 hours.
and you was at the station at
Yeah.
that. So
I was at work. Yeah.
He was like-
About 5 minutes after, I'm sitting there with an ice pack on my face, and a call comes in, and I get up and I'm walking towards the rig like this, and he goes, "Where are you going?" "I'm going on a call."
Right.
He's like, "Sit your ass down, dum dum."
Yeah.
I'd have made you go.
Yeah.
That's punishment. Break the rules. You got to suffer the consequences.
Yeah.
It's cause and effect, man.
Yeah. Not smart, but it happened.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
So, DJ,
Yes.
we found out like 5 minutes ago that you're like this mental health guru.
Oh no! No! Not me. No. I mean, I've been on a lot of podcasts talking about mental health because I went through a lot of stuff when I was younger, like anger issues and stuff like that. And then when I grew older, I should say, got on the fire department, and went through a lot of stuff, I should say, with like my ex-wife and all that stuff on the department while I was on the department, and then just stuff that I realized I wasn't ready for. I got on young and saw some things early on in my career that kind of like, I wouldn't say traumatized me, but kind of just stuck with me.
Yeah,
and
it's okay. It traumatized
right,
you.
Yeah, right.
You don't have to sugarcoat it.
Yeah, but it stuck with me. Just being raised, by my dad, being raised as a man. You can't show fear, can't show weakness, and stuff like that. Just being taught to be a man. Yeah. I held all that stuff in for years.
Well, and I think it's important to let everybody know you're second generation.
Yes,
right.
Well, a lot. Well, I have I had chiefs on the job. That was my family members, everything. So it was just before my dad got on the job, Lester Franklin, Chief Franz, that's my family also. So both
Anyway,
you're good. Sorry.
You're good, man.
So anyway,
so you have a lot of family.
I have a lot of family that's firemen that I found out, and then it was me and my dad. So yes, it's second generation for me and my dad, but then I have cousins and uncles.
Yeah,
that's on the job also.
Yeah.
So,
your dad taught our academy class. You know that?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he was the lead instructor.
One more again.
One more again. That's what I heard about that. One more. Not by him, but by people. And I asked him, and he was like, "Yeah, that was one of the things I said." Just So
every day.
19 years later, it's still
one more again. Know your shit and throw a ladder.
Yep.
So that was another of our instructors.
Yeah.
Still don't know what that means. I think it's a truck thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So my dad was a truckman. So most of his career he was a truckman. Then he switched over to be a pumperman, which I didn't understand that. But
I was, that I don't.
At the end, it didn't.
It didn't make sense for
Maybe he just needed to change.
Well, I guess he was like kind of a little wishy washy because he was. I'm not gonna say what companies he was on, but he started off up north, like his first year or something like that, and then he moved to other stations, but he was a truckman more than he was a pumperman, I should say, until he made captain. So when he was a fireman, he was always a truckman, and then he made captain, and then
went to the pumper.
Went to pumper, and then stayed on pumper for the rest of his pumper. Yeah.
Well, it's hard to get a truck spot as a captain. There's very limited spots.
That's right.
Pumpers are easy. They're a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Not funner than being on truck.
Second that.
Yeah.
You know so he doesn't fires though, right? He's watching them young guys. The second that line's dropped, he grabs it and he starts smiling.
So I have done that before.
I've watched him do it. I was like,
I have done it before because it's fun. It is fun getting the line because I don't get to do it often, but it's not funner than being on the roof, chopping holes, searching for people. Just, I don't know. It's like hide and go seek sometimes, you just go in there and it's like a game, you go in there and you're blind, it's dark, and you just have fun with it.
You ever go and play Marco Polo? Just yell at Marco, see what happens?
I never said Marco before, but I have said other things. But
I am so doing that next fire. That's
you never know.
I've never heard it described as hide and go seek.
I guarantee you will hear me say that in the next fire. Okay, you're like, what? Oh, that must be Frank. Yeah.
I hope I'm there.
Must be DJ up there.
We'll be on the line. I'll hear it. I'll start giggling.
Then you got to worry if somebody answers back. Polo.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So
you can tell by that sound of the voice if it's muffled.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. So, did you, whenever you started going through everything, how long did it take you to, realize it and start making a change?
It took me, let's see, it all started with me going through my divorce, and I just found that I was drinking a lot. Didn't know, I thought I was just hanging out with friends, but I started drinking a lot, hanging out with friends, started getting into bar fights, fighting people, being overly aggressive, and it was after my family member got murdered, and I kind of sat there and I realized that life was too short, and two, I had one of my friends come to me. He was like, "Hey, you going down this bad road," which is also a good friend of mine in the fire department, and he was like, "Man, I just noticed that you've been drinking every single day, going through some emotional stuff, and every time we go out before the night's over with, you're bawling, telling me all this crap, this about your life and what you went through and this." And I was like, man, I woke up one morning, I was like, I don't want to wake up another morning having to say sorry to anyone. You know, I didn't want to have to apologize and say, I'm sorry I did this, or sorry I did that, or wonder if I'm going to be on the news, I got to watch the news this morning to see if I'm a part of something that happened last night. That's what kind of had me want to change. So I stopped smoking. I stopped drinking hard liquor. And I think it's going on 8 years now that I haven't drank any hard liquor or anything. So it was rough, though. There was a lot of nights where I wanted to fall back into drinking hard liquor because I'm like, I know it's fun and it's going to take the pain away. And, you know, I just really didn't care at the time that I was doing it. But then I found out that it was hurting my friends and my family around me. And then when people don't want to spend time with you and hang out with you and you know why, that helps change you also. Well, helps change some people. So, yeah.
So what did you do? Like, did you go to therapy? Like,
I started talking to other people outside my friends and family. So a good friend of mine that's on the fire department also, he is on a committee that helps, or he's a part of a team of guys that help people with emotional and kind of like PTSD,
so like a peer support group,
basically like a peer support group. And he was with me all the time. Like, actually, he was actually one of my drinking buddies, but he knew how to control at the time. My thing, I did not know how to do that.
Right.
You know, so I drank until I basically passed out. You know, and just got with him, and we sat down basically every day we was off. We hung out and we just talked. He was like, "You need to let this out." You know, being a man, you don't have to hold stuff in. You don't have to hide emotions. You don't have to hide your tears. You don't have to do any of that stuff. Everything they taught us growing up is not true. You know, you can be yourself. You could be emotional if you want to. Just let it out. You know. So anyway, he taught me that. You know, and I still use it today. Like, if I need to let it out, I let it out. I don't hold it in for months, years, or whatever like that. I just let it out, and it helps. So
yeah. It's okay to be vulnerable.
It's okay to be human.
Yeah.
You know,
the strong silent type that's a movie trope.
Yeah.
You know,
but it's taught though.
Yeah.
Especially like men pass it down. Like I remember passing it down to my son growing up, and now that he's just like me. He's exactly like me now. And now I'm going back. Basically, I'm contradicting myself, saying, "Hey, son, you don't have to be this way." And knowing that I taught that to him growing up, you know, not to cry, not to show weakness, not to always be the hardest, always be the strongest, be the fastest, be the, you know, everything, you know. So it just, it's something that we have to change in our, just our upbringing, you know, or just, you know, just in our, just community, you know. So
yeah, it definitely needs to change in society, and I think there's a balance there. I mean, there are times whenever you need to be hard.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
So you can't just always fall on emotion, but at the same time, you can't just block everything out.
Yeah.
And I think the way the fire department is, the way the police department is, the way that our military is, it's like a microcosm of that, of we have a job to do. We have to do the job. And, you know, we can't fall apart while we're doing the job. When we get done with the job, then, you know, that's the time to process everything and all that. And I'm not saying like after your career. I'm saying like after the specific call.
Yeah.
Sit down and deal with it.
Yeah.
Don't wait.
And it's still hard though. It's still hard sitting around your friends that look up to you, or or people that's young in the station when you have time on, and it's hard to be open, you know, because they might see you in a different way.
And I get that, and that's something that I worried about kind of at the beginning whenever I went through all my stuff, was what's everybody going to think of me and all of that stuff. But the thing is, if you don't sit down and have those conversations and don't show them that it's okay to have those conversations and be bothered by some of that stuff, and you can get through it,
right.
You know, like, yes, it's 100% human to get bothered by this. What we just saw is fucking terrible.
You're right.
And we're going to talk about it and then move on. But if you do don't talk about it, you know, you don't address it, just kind of bury it and all that stuff, you're just reinforcing that stigma.
You're right.
And teaching that pattern to the younger people coming in.
I agree.
So
It's definitely just changing the culture, and it's not just our culture as firefighters or police officers, military, but men in general.
True.
And having that bleed over into the female culture. Because even, like, you watch a lot of podcasts, or if you can watch videos on TikTok if you want.
no,
And
thanks.
a lot of them,
I'm good.
there's a lot of like, clips, and it's women saying that they want the man who is strong and doesn't get emotional. Your stereotypical male of what Hollywood's been pushing for 50 years. That's just not reality, because men are going to break.
Eventually.
And when they break,
you're right.
it's not a good day for anybody when
Right.
they snap.
That's true.
Yeah. But see, and I haven't seen that. Like, even like all the Instagram stuff and all that stuff. And the just typical general narrative is they don't want men to be
There's a lot
men,
to do.
because then they're toxically masculine.
Here's the thing
So-
about the culture now, that's going on. As men, we have to stand up and we have to teach our own sons and stuff like that to be what we know we should be.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff comes from like the men that's growing up now that's kind of, I'm just gonna say it's soft, I should say, like soft-ish, are men that got raised by their moms and their moms only. They didn't have any male role model there to teach them, hey, this is how you handle these things. Hey, this is how, there's so many times where, like, I grew up with, like, my family members, right? Where there's one family member that's raised by his mom and all that stuff, and he's more used to, like, arguing, fussing, and fighting, and he don't care if it's a woman, he don't care if it's a man. He'll get loud, fuss, fight, all this stuff, get into it with his teachers, whatever it may be. But that's how he was raised, because he was raised by a woman that would probably flip and do the same thing. But you take myself and my brothers that was raised by my mom and my dad, and it was just basically my dad did the discipline. My mom was there to basically make sure, cook clean, make sure we was straight emotionally and all that stuff, get that motherly love. But my dad did everything else. We didn't do all the arguing, fussing, fighting with people.
Yeah.
We didn't go through. I don't argue and fuss and fight as a man. As a man, I'll sit there. I'll let you say what you want to say. You go over this point, and then I gotta bust your head. That's it. And my thing is that's one thing that I had to work on also. Having anger problems growing up is that I was taught by my dad that had anger problems also when he was growing up. See.
Yeah.
So but he learned how to control that and change that around to try to teach me something different. But he still taught me how to be a man.
You got to have that, and I'm gonna say 2-parent home, but even if you're not married,
You have to have both.
You still had to have both as an influence in your
Yes,
life.
you're right. That's true.
So I mean, it falls on both men and women when there's divorce, because usually one is like, I'm gonna go,
Right.
and then I went through it. I got my son every other weekend. 4 days a month to start.
See, and I want to go.
That's not enough to teach him anything, or to spend the time that that I want.
Yeah. I want to go back to a point that you were talking about, that you both made of, how they're kind of soft and then they just snap. Mm-hmm. And Jordan Peterson, I don't know if you guys are familiar.
Love Jordan Peterson.
He talks about that. He goes, men are supposed to be men, capable. You want a man who's capable of extreme violence, but can control it. Because the man that is always going to capitulate and always be, that way, eventually they all get to a point, or not all, but eventually those people get to a point where they snap.
Yeah.
Because they didn't stand up for themselves. They didn't, they weren't being a man. They were just going with the flow or whatever, because that's what society told them. And then they get to the point where they're just, dang. And then that's how we get school shooters and mass shooters.
I agree.
Because that is and you can look it up. And I don't fucking care if we get fucking another strike. Fuck you, YouTube.
Yes. Fuck YouTube.
Bleep that out. Bleep that out.
Oh, no. Leave it in.
Yeah.
Leave it in.
Look at all of the mass shootings and the school shootings. The individuals that were involved in that stuff, other than the acts of terrorism that happened, a few years ago, they all have that common denominator in there. It's somebody who had an extreme mental health issue, who was the quiet person who never did anything, blah, 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 and then all of a sudden they just killed 20 people.
I'm not going to disagree.
I mean,
yeah. It's kind of messed up because we have the ability to go back to how we used to treat mental illness. We have the ability as United States of America to have our doctors and mental health experts have facilities for mental health. We can go back to, I wouldn't say locking people up, but basically putting people in housing that are mentally ill. We don't have to go back to where they was doing experiments on people and doing this and doing that. That's why they stopped in the beginning. But I do believe that we need to be able to house, basically bring back committing people. If a family member knows that, oh man, he's a little crazy, he's a little cuckoo. We all have family members that say they need to be locked up, and we know they do, but we can't do that because it's a human rights violation. And my thing is, we know
definitely a fine line.
Yes, but we all know who needs to be locked up. Yeah. Everyone knows that in their family. But my thing
sanatoriums.
Yeah,
yes.
sanatorium,
and my thing is, that's what we need to go back to. It's not about our gun laws and all that stuff. My thing is, we have gun laws. Criminals don't care about gun laws. Exactly. What? So my thing is, if you make it where people can. Okay, let's say it's my daughter or my son that I know that is crazy or cuckoo or whack or something like that, wacko, and like they need mental help. I'm taking them getting help, but these doctors and these psychiatrists,
I feel like they have quotation marks around them.
Yes, yes, they're literally babying them. Oh, it's okay. Well, you've been through this, and they're telling them all the horrible stuff they want to do to people, and they're just saying, "Oh, we could get through this. Let's talk through this," and they still go off and murder people.
Yeah, it's not your fault. They don't take responsibility for anything.
And then they're going to push medication on them. So basically, once they stop their medication or miss their medication, like we all do, there's people out there that miss their medication frequently.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we run them on a frequent basis.
We run them all the time. And that's the point is, if you bring back where they're actually in a facility and they're actually getting their dose and stuff, and they don't have access to weapons inside their house or knives or vehicles or anything, blunt force objects, because it's just not firearms that's doing it. It's anything to get their hands on to do the destruction they feel at that time. So my thing is, if you bring back the facilities to house these people, it's going to be against their will because they think they're fine, but they're not, and that's the problem. But we're babying the people that are hurting the society. So that's just my take on it.
Well, and we're also doing them a disservice.
Yes,
because we're allowing them. I mean, what's the homeless population? It's exploded.
Right.
And what do we see whenever we run homeless people?
A lot of mental health issues.
A lot. And they're off their meds. I mean, that's
they can't get their meds. They can't afford them.
Yeah.
And they need somewhere to go. But they self-medicate too.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when you see the crack, the cocaine, the PCP,
the alcohol.
The alcohol. I mean, I was going to answer the big ones. Alcohol's a given.
But you know what? You would think that, but a lot of people don't look at it that way. They don't look at alcoholics as self-medicating.
That's exactly.
But that's
numbing the pain.
Yep. Yeah. Numbing the pain. That's what I used to self-medicate with.
Yeah.
I mean,
me too.
I don't smoke weed. I don't do drugs or anything like that. It was alcohol. You know. So
same. I mean, I think we've all had our bout with alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm still dealing with mine. So
yeah.
No, I'm over it though.
I don't disagree with you. I just I do agree with Chris that it's a fine line and it's a tricky situation. Right. And it's kind of like we were talking about. I can't remember who I was talking about it with the other day at the station, but we were talking about changes that needed to happen within the fire service. And this is one of those things where, as a society at whole, one person isn't going to be able to make this change. You have to have multiple people all at the same time in positions of influence, power, whatever, who are going to not be afraid to make this decision, and the society in general has to come around to support it.
I agree.
Well, a lot and then you look at the mental health issue. So you want to bring those places back? Where's the funding come from? Because it's been destroyed. It's been slashed to where there's nothing there. I mean, I remember taking people right to one of the places we used to have where you could skip the ER and go over if they met the certain criteria.
Dude,
and then that's changed where you have to get to the ER.
I'm going to stop you right there. Everybody wants to talk about funding for everything. We pay so much taxes in this country.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Like, weed is now legal in most states. That gets taxed. Gambling is now legal in most states. That gets taxed. Supposedly all this stuff is going to our education system. Really?
Education sucks right now. Yes.
Our education sucks. Our roads are getting worse and worse and worse. Like, I mean, we're supposedly getting all this tax money and it's not getting spent. Or we're sending $20 billion
trillions.
20 trillion.
They're in the trillions now.
In the trillions to Ukraine.
So
I'm not disagreeing with any of that.
And we have homeless people out there.
But if you're gonna bring it to the table, so you want people that have influence and power to make the change.
Mm-hmm.
That's the very first question they're gonna ask. Where's the money come from? So you better have a plan in place.
My question is, where did all your money come from, Senator?
Oh, there is that. It's called insider trading and lobbying.
Right.
So, but no, I mean, it's
tit
very...
Tit for tat. That's definitely what quid pro quo is, what old Joe did.
It's very fucking simple. Like, we stop spending money on the bullshit that we shouldn't be spending money on as a country anyway, and we start focusing on our people. It's the same thing we need to do with our first responders, our fire departments, our police departments. Start investing back into your people. Stop buying this newest, latest fucking gadget that is fucking ridiculous and nobody needs anyway. And spending money on dumb shit. Invest it back into your people, into a mental health wellness program, into a fitness program. I mean, get the fuck out of here. How many firefighters do you guys know that after one fire, and I'm not even talking about like it's 110 outside and, you know, it's an ass kicker and they come out and everybody's smoked after that fire.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about it's 50 degrees, it's nice outside, and it's a little room and contents, and you got dudes falling out.
Yeah.
That's a fucking issue.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So why aren't we addressing that? Like, it is cheaper to retain people with being a little bit preventative with our physical fitness and our mental health wellness than it is to pay for people to go to inpatient treatment programs, pay for people to be off on modified duty because of injuries that happened because they were out of shape, or because, you got a cardiac issue now. Well, shit, I wonder why. What? You're looking at me like I just, pissed in your Cheerios. Did I get on a soapbox there for a second?
I was just waiting for you to be done.
Okay, I'm done. Go for it.
I've got nothing to say. I don't give a shit.
What do you mean you don't give a shit?
What people choose to do, they choose to do. Now, do I think those programs should be available? Yep.
They should be available and encouraged.
Definitely encouraged. But I've seen some of the oldest, fattest people outwork everybody, and they go to another fire and outwork everybody again.
That's me.
And I'm not gonna disagree with you. I've seen that as well.
I've always seen the most in shape person laid out in the front yard, and they're like, "What the fuck you doing, man?"
Yeah,
just smoke to be, and that's not just, and that's I've seen plenty of videos on YouTube with them. Like, hey man, it's still going. You get a new bottle, let's go.
Yeah, some of that is inexperience. Some of it is they look good on the outside, but they're not really in shape, or their fitness came out of a fucking bottle. I mean, you can't just go by looks. I'm talking about actually being in shape.
Being conditioned.
Because
difference between being conditioned for it and just being in shape. Because my thing is being, let's say, taking a truckman. You could take a in shape pumperman and put them through doing what truckmen do every shift or every fire, and they can't do it because they're not conditioned for that action.
Yeah.
They're using different muscles now that they don't use pulling a hose line.
It definitely works the other way.
You know, so and it works me pulling a hose line in. I'm like, God, this is hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, but I can pull a ceiling and chop holes all day long.
And it's not just the pulling the line part that's hard for truckmen.
Yeah.
It's all those EMS calls.
Yes.
Now you're talking about brain
So,
power.
No, my
That's a
thing
whole
is it's
different
emotional.
aspect.
It's emotional difficult.
But
You
raise
emotionally. It's emotional.
you raise a great point though, DJ, of being fit for the task.
Yep, being conditioned for duty.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's different than being in shape. If you look like a bodybuilder, but you don't know how to cut a hole right,
Yeah.
you're going to smoke yourself.
Or just stay healthy, period. Most of our people that lift weights a lot on the job, they get injured all the time. They're always off.
That's because they're
always.
doing dumb shit like CrossFit or
So, yeah.
powerlifting or some bullshit. Like, look, here's the thing. Those fitness programs, if you want to call them programs, are not good for firefighters.
Yeah.
They actually will end up in the long run being a detriment because they're not actions that we use. Most of them aren't even normal actions that the human body is supposed to be doing anyway. And you can argue with me all fucking day if you want and to go fuck yourself. I don't care. That's just my opinion on it.
I'll back you up on that. Like I said, I know plenty of guys that lift, run, and just like CrossFit, and they're always one is bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Bodybuilders are injured on our job, are injured more than anyone. They lift hard, all that they have back injuries, shoulder injuries, leg injuries. They're always off because of that.
Yeah.
Does it happen on the job? Maybe, maybe not. But I think they're always off. Now, I don't know about CrossFit. I don't know about a lot of CrossFit guys, but I know a lot of our bodybuilders stay off.
Yeah.
And it's because they beat themselves up always.
Yeah.
And
you
they're
have
just,
to rest and recover.
Yeah. So it's
And the type of
and they're too tight.
yeah.
They're always tight.
Yeah.
Like I said, they can. How do you lifting every single day, but then you want to come and have to pull a ceiling or chop a hole, and you can't use your shoulders or your arms because you came to work from a workout.
Yeah.
Where you lift for 2 hours before you came to work. It does not work.
Or
you
you got to get down on your hands and knees and
right.
squeeze somebody out from behind a couch flexibility. Like we have to have such a unique blend of fitness.
There's definitely got plyometrics in there, muscle. But you want to build muscle, but you also want it to have.
You have to have
I can't think of the word.
muscle endurance.
Endurance. Thank you.
Yeah. You have to have a decent amount of strength. You don't have to be huge and strong, like that type of strong, but you need to have a decent amount of strength. You have to have muscle endurance, and your muscles have to be able to work constantly over and over and over again. And you have to be in cardiovascular shape.
So basically, have a lot of sex, carry a lot of ammo cases and boxes, and swim a lot. There you go. So basically, my routine.
Yeah.
So I'm good. See,
There you
perfect
go.
trucker.
It's
Perfect
definitely well rested.
Yes, definitely. yes, and I eat good too.
Yeah.
So
Those 4 bowls of ice cream I saw you
yeah.
eat the other day.
Oh, you should have saw the Rice Krispie treats last night at the station. Oh,
Don't even get me started, man.
Jeez.
Rice Krispie treats with Oreos in them.
man,
That sounds delicious.
I ate
Is-
too much of them.
I
I paid for them though. I slept too long.
Fuck you
I
guys.
had sleep cramps.
yeah.
I won't tell you about my day.
I know about your day. You laid in bed until 8:30 last night.
Pretty much.
See, there you go.
I was definitely well rested. It was a coiled spring. When the bells went off, I was like, finally! Lift assist. I was like, you gotta be shitting me.
Oh man. I was working Sunday at our old station on our old rig, and he was texting me. We were on the way back from a call, and he was like, "Yeah, be safe or whatever." And I was like, "Oh, I'm at this place. It's easy money."
Yeah.
Man, I fucked up.
Yeah, I didn't respond to that one. I just giggled.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's pretty funny.
No sooner did we get back and eat dinner than it fucking started. And, I mean, we'd been consistently busy all day, but yeah, I bet we ran
was like that
5 calls, 6
Fire Department
calls after.
Chronicles
Yeah.
video where
It
it was
was
the EMS guy just kept hitting the button.
Had like a 3-car pile up, bunch of lift assists. Like it was, yeah. And then one dude, this has got to be one of the most ridiculous lift assists that I've ever been on. We show up at this house and they don't want us to force entry. So like, okay, I kind of get that, but how are we supposed to get in?
Right.
So
We're here to help.
we're ringing the doorbell and it's like they're just giving us like dispatch is on the phone with them and they're like piecing out information. Come to find out, the person we were there to pick up is down in the basement. The spouse is asleep upstairs.
What?
Yeah. So we're ringing the doorbell and nobody's getting up.
Right.
Right. He obviously ain't getting up to come let us in. And finally one of the guys takes a stick and he's like banging on the second floor bedroom window.
Yeah.
And that finally, and I'm like, hey, you got 2 garage door openers right here. Like, what's the code? I don't know. Like, all right.
You still don't want to come down and open the door up.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then finally, they open the door. We go in, pick the guy up. Cops show up. Like, they should have canceled you guys, that whole thing. But it's like, we were there for a good, I'd say 15 minutes before they came and opened the door. And like, I'm talking to dispatch and I'm like, what are we here for? Moral support?
That's about it. I mean, that's crazy.
I did hear the funniest, one of the funniest radio calls that I've ever heard the other day. It was like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and there was an ambulance that was out on a call, and they came over and told dispatch that, they didn't have a patient, just somebody overslept on the sidewalk. I was like, varsity move, sir. Varsity
That's
move.
hilarious.
And I know that guy. And
Overslept.
Yeah.
That's good.
It happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're in that good deep sleep. You're in that REM cycle just right. Traffic's not bothering you.
You know what? Whenever...
And it's been cool in the mornings, too. It was like
Yeah.
62 when I got in my car this morning. I was like, windows down.
That was... Whenever we used to work at that station that we worked at together for such a long time, I used to pass going through this apartment complex to get to the station. And without a doubt, every Friday and Saturday, same guy
Yeah.
passed out on the sidewalk.
That's pretty good.
And like, I just, fuck it, I'm going to let him sleep. I ain't waking him up.
Right.
About every other weekend, we have to go pick him up and tell him to walk to his apartment.
He was living his best life.
Yeah.
Okay?
Come on, man. Hey,
The world was his.
Yeah.
So,
you know what? In the early mornings, that grass is nice and cool. It's hard to wake up.
It's just wonderful.
It's like, hey, man, you see that bush over there? Yeah, that looks pretty good, right?
right.
Why don't you go over there?
Go hide behind it so
Yeah.
people won't call on you, So,
So when
A
did
lot of people get, like, the homeless that do that. They get mad.
yeah.
It's like, look, it's not us, dude. We don't care. Just, you got to hide from people.
Right.
Because
it's called stealth camping
these,
for a
these
reason.
cell phones, these little fucking the worst thing ever. Because every Johnny Do-Gooder and Joanne Do-Gooder is like, hey, I helped the guy today. No, the fuck you didn't. They want to be left the fuck
They
alone.
want to be left alone. Matter of fact, if you want to help them, give them more liquor. That's it.
Don't do that.
Give them more liquor.
Or how about we go back to what you were talking about?
Oh yes, let's build these facilities.
Yeah.
You know?
Actually give them resources to where they're
Right.
not passing out on the sidewalk all the time.
I'd rather have my tax money not be tax money, but you have so much you have to give to charity of your choice.
See, that's the thing though. There's a lot of charities that they don't use the money for what they should be.
No,
Use it for
I'm not
you.
saying they
Look,
don't.
man, look. So
But
like that whole thing, I've been around the whole nonprofit thing for a little while, and that is can be such a shady world.
It is.
It can be.
It's
I'm not
actually
sa-
for profit because there's people in the nonprofit world that get paid from because you have your people that run it. They get paid from because it's a job.
What's that?
So-
Can any of us go run a nonprofit right now and give it the time it needs and not have a paycheck coming in?
No. I mean, you have to.
You see the problem.
but
here.
they're making millions though. There's no cap
No.
on it. There's
Yeah,
no
no,
cap
they're-
on what
they're-
you can make.
yeah,
You know, they
and-
make their own pay.
And I think
you
if
know.
we as a society
Yeah.
came together and helped create that, like you had to give people a good living wage,
Right.
and then the rest of it, But do you need 40 people to run a 20-person room house?
No.
I definitely think you can trim the fat, like certain big ones that ring bells all the time, and you look at what they spend on salary, you're like, Really?
But how do you make certain legislation to curve or to combat,
That's the question.
specific payout for basically specific roles, I should say. Like how do you say, okay, well, if you're a CEO or CFO or this, this profit, my bad. Like basically, how do you do that? Because every non for profit is different. So yeah,
I think you got to create a standard. With if they can legislate taxes the way they do and fuck our wheels off, pretty sure they could do it there. But they're probably getting kickbacks by certain bell ringers to not do that.
Yeah,
because it's going to hurt their pockets. Yeah, I said what I said. I won't give money to them.
Yeah.
But hey, man, that's your choice. I don't agree, disagree. I don't know anything about it.
Like, hell, we tried to take stuff one day. And like, no, we're not going to take that. We don't like the way it looks. I'm like, so you beg us for donations, and now you want to turn your nose up at it?
Yeah.
Like, why should I fucking help you? Mm-hmm. I can't recycle it, so that means it has to go in the trash now, which contributes to our
Well, if you recycle it, it just ends up in the ocean anyway.
Yeah. Probably. I don't know.
It's
get shipped overseas and then in the ocean.
Yeah.
So.
Or somebody who
conveniently falls off the ship on the way to overseas.
Oh no, they dump it.
Yeah,
I
that's
saw videos.
why I said.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right.
But just because you don't like the way something looks, doesn't mean DJ's not going to like it. Especially if it's cheap and he needs it. I'm just using you guys as an example.
I love cheap stuff.
I'm just using you guys as an example. But there's plenty of people who don't give a fuck.
Well, yeah.
So now I'm just going to throw it away when it could be used by somebody else.
True.
And because you're a stuck-up snot fuck stick. I didn't know where I was going with that.
I was wondering.
I don't think that's going to catch on.
Sound like something from like Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory.
I had like 17 things in my head. That's kind of where I went. So now somebody's out whatever it is somebody brings in because you're a fucking prude.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. Why should I help you help other people when I'll just put it on the corner and be like, hey man, free. Whoever wants it, it's yours.
Somebody gonna take it.
Yep. I'm good with that. Yeah. Outside of a certain station, we had a magic corner. I brought a couch in, sit on the corner, 15 minutes, gone.
Yeah.
It was great. It sucked having to load it up and bring it down, but somebody's using the couch.
Yeah.
I used it. I got my money's worth out of it, and now it's on to somebody else who needs it. Yeah. And there's no third party in there making a fucking dime. Or in their case, a $10 bill.
Well, we take donations at my business for basically everything for like winter stuff. So we don't turn down anything. So from clothes, shoes, I don't care how rough they beat up. My fiance, she cleans all the shoes up. So my thing, she sits right there with a bucket of water, soap, everything like that, toothbrush, scrub brush, and she cleans all the shoes up to give to needy people. So that's in need. So we take everything. We don't throw anything away. We got clothes, shoes, games that's missing pieces. It doesn't matter. We're taking toys for kids, everything. So we keep it right, and we keep it right there at the shop. So we have an actual area in the back of our shop that we keep all the donations. And when we first opened up, I think for 2 weekends in a row, that's all we did was just give out tons of stuff from clothes, shoes, everything. It was close to Christmas, so we did a lot of shoes, clothes, toys. We did a lot of blankets, and we did a chili cook-off because that was like last year was like the harshest winter we had in a long time. Mm-hmm. It was like 20 below zero, and we did chili. We did like chili and hot cocoa. So we set up 10 outside, and that's all we did. We fed them all day long, and for
good
2
for
weeks
you,
in a
man.
row.
That's awesome.
And we plan on doing it this year again too. So all winter long.
Wish I would have known that a month ago.
So any comforters, and we have
gave away. I guess
there's a lot of homeless people in that part of town where my shop is, where we service a lot of people out there. So any type of donations, I don't know if I can put it out there.
Yeah,
but,
put it out there. Man.
It's your business.
Any donations is it's right at 137 East 40 Highway in Independence, Missouri, and we take all donations. It's basically Franklin Firearms, and everything
Yeah.
So
Text me a link to your website. I'll put that on the show notes and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
So
it's every weekend. So every Saturday we have from the beginning of winter to the end of winter. We give out all this stuff.
So if I bring in a pair of old shoes, can I treat it for like box of ammo?
Well, that's not really called a donation. Then we don't trade ammo for shoes.
Two pairs of shoes for a box of ammo. Come on, that's fair.
We'll throw your name in a drawing for a free gun. There you go. That's not bad.
So for every shoe, I get one name, right? I get to put one ticket in.
No, for every pair of shoes, you know. There you go.
Why does it feel like you're always trying to work an angle?
Yeah, right. So we might do that.
Hey man, we're talking free firearm here. I don't know.
So,
I want to work that.
So
angle.
usually people just donate because it's part of their heart, But we might encourage people this year to donate more by giving away like a free firearm for self defense.
I used to have a bigger heart than I do now. I'll be honest. So my heart, it's definitely changed.
Yeah,
and I do believe it's the job that we do, and seeing what we see,
it can definitely make you jaded.
I'm like, no. So I had a part-time job one time, and we're working, and I was with a guy who grew up in the country, big heart. Like, I think it's great. He's like, hey man, I'm gonna give this guy my sandwich. I'm like, you don't want it? He's like, yeah, he does. His sign says like he's hungry. I'm like, he wants your money to go buy booze. He's like, no, I'm gonna give him my lunch. Okay. Rolls his window down. Said, hey man, I got some food for you. Gave him. Guy threw the sandwich at him.
Wow.
I was like, what'd I tell you? He wants booze money. He wants to drink. It just happened to be that it was somebody that we had run a whole bunch, so it's not like I didn't know him. I knew who the guy was. I was like, that's one of the reasons. And but you see it a lot, and now you start lumping everybody in that group that way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's what happens.
Yeah, and I think that's something you need to guard against.
But I still donate and try and help where I can.
So why did you, or what got you into firearms and then starting a business with firearms?
It was my dad.
America.
Yeah,
America. That's why America.
It was my dad. Got into firearms because we always had like little toy guns around the house and stuff like that growing up. And I remember, so my family, of course, just like a lot of Americans, participate in New Year's Eve when people shoot off, right? So I used to do it when I haven't done it in years and all that stuff because of just the safety concerns and all that stuff. And I'm a business owner now, and I know
what goes up must come down.
Even though Mythbusters said something different. I watched the episode of Mythbusters that said that it does not have enough energy, like foot-pounds of energy to actually kill someone when that bullet comes back down. If it's shot straight up in the air. If it's shot straight up in the air and comes right back down, it does not. When it's angled, it's different though. So if you shoot a firearm at an angle, it still has the trajectory and the foot-pounds of energy, to actually kill someone. So it's about anyway, it's not safe. Like that. Don't do it. Okay. So, all right. So, but, anyway, so it was after New Year's basically. We had little toy cap guns and stuff. It was New Year's Day. My grandmother had came over and it was like 6:00 in the morning. Doorbell rang and, it was my grandma. She handed my dad something that looked like my toy cap gun. So he put it in his pocket and he started walking down the hallway and I'm like, what? That's my toy, And I ran over there and I grabbed it. Put my hand in his pocket and grabbed it. Well, one, I got my butt beat. Two, he was like, you never touch a gun, I was like, what? It's my toy. And he was like, no, that was a real firearm. That's what kind of got me interested in, like, I was like, ooh, that was a real one, About 4 years later, 5 years later, he started letting us shoot on New Year's with him. We shot shotguns off, not handguns, but just shotguns. And it was like the best thing ever. And then I got into ROTC and started shooting ROTC. And I just loved it, and just got into firearms. I wanted to go to the military, but got stopped, But anyway, but yeah, I love something about firearms that I can't explain, So I kind of went to the stream of training, getting my own shop, getting my own license to sell, build, basically manufacture firearms, everything. So it's a real big passion of mine. So, and I think safety is more important than anything, but firearms are my love. So, yep. That's it.
Yep.
That's how I got into it. So,
well, most people that get into firearms don't turn it into a business.
right. It just, I mean, the passion was really, really serious, like deep. Like you could ask anyone that's been around me in the fire station for years, from the time I was 21 all the way until now. Well, I think it stopped once I opened my shop up. So about now until 2019ish, when I started my gun business. Every day at the station, I was on my phone in a corner somewhere. I didn't talk to people. I didn't do anything. Only I did was look at gun videos. I researched prices. I wanted to be a gun consultant first. I wanted to help people buy guns because I thought I didn't have enough capital, I should say, to
start
my own business. Yeah. I didn't know how easy it was to actually start a business. It was a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. It was years of saving up, but luckily, I had stocks and I had, retirement funds that I used to start my business. But I literally enjoyed looking at people's faces or hearing people's, hey, man, I took my gun to the range and, my firearm, it worked perfectly and this and that. So it was something that I liked doing. And then once I started training with these people, they start coming out with me and say, hey, can you show me how to shoot? And I'm teaching people how to shoot, taking them from novice to at least like, above, beginner level. It was something that I enjoyed doing, and knowing that I help people prepare to protect their family at all costs. So it was something I just enjoyed doing. So I won't never stop. So as long as I can see, and as long as I got my fingers in my hands, I'm gonna do it. So
yeah. Well, it sounds like for you, like almost like another kind of act of service.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, we do a lot, man. So we give out free firearm safety classes for youth. So especially like this past summer, we had free youth classes. Then we started the first ever free gun lock program through a gun shop. So we give out free gun locks to anybody. You come in there, you could want 100 gun locks. We'll buy them and give them away. So any organization come to us, anyone can come to us, and we will spend the money, the time, getting wherever they need to do it. So we had
I got some I'll sell you.
Yeah,
I got a few you can have.
You say gun locks?
Gun locks. Oh, yeah.
Well, my thing is we give them out, sir, because if you have children at home, we really do.
I have a big safe.
Yeah. So, but we highly encourage everyone to keep their firearms safely locked up, because our goal is basically to eliminate unintentional child deaths due to firearms, mishandling of firearms, or just intentionally firearms going off. So that's one thing that we care about. So
anytime my buddy brings his kids over, everything's locked up.
Everything, yeah, like
everything's locked up.
All right, got to pick up 16 guns around the house now, and lock them up. So
16
guns. I'm sorry, that's just me. No, that's just me.
It's a rookie number, son. You can't take a step in the house without being.
Oh yeah,
that's the way it should be.
Yeah, I agree. So
Decepticons, man. You never know.
You're that guy that's got the end table that kind of folds up and it's got like 7 ARs in it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The armrest that flips up and it's got
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know. Yeah. I have a couple shelves in my house.
Yeah,
armoire that does it.
I tell you what, man, the Amish make great furniture. That's all I know.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So let's steer it back towards mental health a little bit. So, how are you doing now?
I'm great. I'm happy. Like I said, I stopped. Everything from smoking cigarettes, hard alcohol, everything like that. Another thing that helped me was starting my business. Something I wanted to do always, that I wanted to do, but I could never had the time for it because I used to drink. From the time I got off of work, I was at the bar until the time my son came home from school. Helped my son with his homework. He played the game. I went in there and watched movies or kept drinking. That was an everyday occurrence, But once I stopped doing all that stuff, once I came to the light, I should say, or came to be, life's been incredible. Like you can do everything. Once you get a hold of that vice that you have in your life, something that's holding you down, you can do anything you want to. So, and that's with the help of friends. Like I said, that buddy that I had on the fire department that I talked to, I let all that shit that I was bottling up for years, all the kids that I saw decapitated, or all the shootings that happened, or the shootings I saw, or just all the car wrecks with mangled bodies and all that shit. That shit ate my soul up. That stuff ate away at me. I can remember every single car wreck where someone died in. I could remember all the bodies that I drunk out of every single house. All that stuff sits with me every day, but I don't think about it because I used to think about it a lot because of alcohol. Mm-hmm. That booze was helping me remember all that shit because that's what it does. It affects your mind, and once you go, it's a depressant. Mm-hmm. So once you get that depression inside you, you start thinking about all the depressing things that's built up and it's locked away in your head. So once I stopped doing that, I stopped thinking about it. If I drink regular beer, I don't think about that mess. But I guarantee you, if I kept on, dealing with alcohol, I would. It's no different than if you got cheated on by your wife or something. Let's say we were at work and one of our wives cheats on us and all that stuff. You can go down the rabbit hole. You're gonna start drinking, doing stuff, and you're gonna be peed off, mad, and all that stuff. But if you keep on with that same cycle of drinking every day, thinking about what happened, you're gonna keep on being that type of person. You're gonna keep on being in that box. You have to break away and say, you know what? I'm not gonna keep on doing the same things that make me remember all the bad things that I've been through. So that's what had to happen.
Yeah.
So I had to leave alone. I had to let alcohol go to get past that trauma. So,
and I think that's an important thing is you have to want to recover.
Right.
Like you legitimately have to want to be better. You have to want to break away from that cycle. You want to change.
Once you find out that you have a problem. Because I didn't know I had a problem at first because I just
thought
I was a fireman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing. My thing is you see all the guys around you doing the same thing. You're like, oh, I'm just normal.
Yeah.
I'm normal because these guys are doing the same. They're drinking every day. They're fighting every day. They're getting into it with their spouses every day. They're doing this, doing that. They're getting divorces. All that stuff's normal. So you thought, oh, I'm just a normal fireman. And that's not a thing. And that's what we had to get out of our heads as firemen, is that this is a job. This is a career. This is a profession. But a fireman is just a title. It's not a actual being. Like, it's not just because I'm a fireman, they don't mean I have to be a dick. They don't mean I have to be a person that abuses drugs or alcohol or a fornicator or whatever you want to say. I don't have to go out there and sleep with 1,000 women just because I'm a fireman. And that was the mindset that I had. Was I'm a fireman, so I have to do all these things. I'm gonna go out there and get drunk. I'm gonna go sleep with women. I'm gonna go, I'm gonna be in bar fights all the time. I'm gonna have stories to tell when I get back to work. And oh man, I beat these guys, but like that. That was the mindset I had, and it's because of the stress that I was having on the job. Mm-hmm. Before the job, I didn't do all that mess.
Yeah,
it was once I got on the job, that I was in bar fight. I was literally I got on the job when I was 20. I think I turned 20. I think I turned 22 or something like that in the academy. I think I was 22 when I got on the job. Like I just had started going to bars, So before I got on the job, I wasn't bar fighting or nothing like that. It was something that I saw when I got on the job. I was like, oh, this is life.
Yeah.
This is what we do. And it was because of older guys on the job that already had those problems that was passing it down passing it down.
Yeah.
And we teach people, we teach our new guys, hey, well, never get married or never settle down or never do this. You got to be hard. Don't complain about injuries. There's years that I got injured on this job, on the job, and I never wrote it up. From ankle injuries and all that stuff, I found out years later that I fractured my ankle. That I remember when I did it. I remember when I fell down the hill with the Hearst tool and my ankle swelled up and everything like that, and I did not report it. I limped around for weeks But I came to work every single shift. You know, I sucked it in just like a man. You know, and did that. I followed in my dad's paths.
Yep.
Because he was the exact same way. You know, but there was a wrong way to do things.
Yeah. Dude,
it was the wrong way. You know,
you're telling the same like
we all have culture change.
Yeah, we have a version of that story. I worked with a broken arm.
Yeah,
I flipped a 4-wheeler in Louisiana and broke my fucking arm. I came back and didn't miss a day of work.
Yeah,
I fucking limped around on one leg for 7 years. It's like, because you don't say you're injured.
You don't want to. Yeah.
You're not going to miss the game.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to play.
Right.
The team needs me.
Exactly. And you don't want to just...
How much damage have we all done to our bodies by working through those injuries?
A lot.
My hips.
A lot.
I mean, how many years ago should I have had that surgery? I mean, shit.
Yeah.
I feel great. But dealt with it for years, just like your ankle or your arm or your knee. Or
knees, back, everything. From falling through floors.
All my back pain was from my hips. I thought it was a back injury.
Yeah.
Or sciatica. Because that's what it felt like.
Such a funny word.
But but how many years would you not have to go through the pain you did if you would written it up and got it taken care of?
Don't want to miss work. Don't want to miss the fires. Don't want to miss the guys at the station. Don't want to be looked.
Don't want to get that reputation
of always. My thing is, you get injured a lot on this job. And it could be back-to-back energies from 1 week spraining your leg and then be like, oh, I was just spraining your ankle. Oh, just a light sprain. I'm not going to write it up. The next week, you get hit in the head with one of those little socket things out the fire truck. You plug your little shoreline. You might get hit in the head the next week. It happens. It happened to me.
You should have been on the rig, not watching it leave.
They pulled it out to wash the bay. They pulled the rig out to wash the bay, and it disconnected, and somehow it got wrapped around the bars on the back on the turntable, and slung off like a whip, and cracked me right in the dead of my forehead. I had a big old huge lump.
That's a new one.
Big huge lump on my forehead.
That's one of those injury reports you look at. You're like, no.
They call that $1 million wound.
I saw stars. I saw stars, and it went black. I saw stars, and I was like, holy crap! And I even though I put on paper back then, it was paper. You didn't call in on nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't go see a doctor. I knew I probably had a concussion. That thing hit me hard. I'm talking about hard, but I had a ankle sprain also. So when it hit me, I kind of stumbled backwards, and I wouldn't say re-injure my ankle, but
you re-aggravated it.
I re-aggravated. I'm like, holy crap! But that's back-to-back injury, And if I would have wrote that up, now I would have been off for that. And maybe if I would have wrote that up, I wouldn't have been at the station for
Yeah.
But he remembers when I tore my shoulder.
Yeah.
And how many days did I work before I was forced to go?
Yeah.
At least 3 shifts.
Yeah.
I got to the point where I couldn't get my arm up to turn the lights on. I'm good. It'll get better.
Yeah. Hey man, and that's the thing.
And they were letting me. I drove all 3 days.
It's we do it to ourselves and each other because it's we're gonna take care of that guy and it was the same thing when I broke my arm. I drove every single shift, which was fine until you have to connect Big Yellow to the side of the pump, and you can't squeeze anything with one hand.
Oh yeah. I agree.
That's a fucking issue. You're trying to get water in a fire. But we're taking care of each other. No, we're not.
We're dumb.
Yeah. But it's a learned behavior. It's a taught behavior. You have to, like you said, stay in the game.
Yeah.
You have to play through your injuries, or work through your injuries. And it's a horrible way to pass down to it's just a horrible thing to pass down to our young firemen.
Yeah, well,
on the job that you have to suck everything.
We're talking about physical injuries.
Yeah, but even emotional stuff.
It bleeds in.
You cannot teach the young firemen. You have to suck up everything.
Yeah.
Oh, laugh it off, because that's what they used to tell us. Well, go back to the station, talk about it, and just laugh about it. Like, you get prone to just laughing about things that actually hurts. We. Perfect instance. We had a young child get ran over by a dump truck, right? And everyone left that day. Everyone at the station left that day, except for me, myself, and one of my best friends, basically at the fire station. We stayed because he wanted to leave too. I wanted to leave also, but we was like, we cannot basically leave the citizens of our city here without protection. If everyone leaves on the station and they can't hire anybody from our station, that leaves a void. And I said we can't do it. This is our job. We're going to see bad stuff. Even though I said that, though, I was still hurting inside. It was a messed up thing to see a little young child like that. And I know my friend he was messed up also, right? There was nothing after that, though. The job didn't step up. We didn't have no action after review. We didn't have no pure support. No one didn't come to the station talk to anyone. We had to deal with ourselves, but there was only 2 people at the station until they hired more people. We just sat there and just looked at each other like, dang, that was a messed up call. It was a messed up call. And the job was not there for us to even handle something. They just basically said, go home to your family members, you get the day off. Well, you can't do that. I mean, you can't.
See,
I don't understand why everybody left, because my thing is everyone on this job sees stuff every shift, just about. You can't just go home. This is our job,
Yeah.
But my thing is you need to have more. We could have sat down and had like a discussion over it and said, hey, does anyone need to talk to someone, or anything?
Those are called debriefs.
Yeah.
And the police departments, most of the police departments are much better about doing that stuff. And usually typically it's several days later, and they'll bring everybody in, they do a debrief. We don't do that on the fire department.
We don't. It's just like we're just supposed to suck it up.
Yeah.
And that's the big issue. You take a 20-year-old or a 19-year-old that comes right out of high school, you put them on this job. Of course, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, I know it's going to be EMS. We're going to see nasty stuff. We're going to see death and all that stuff. But you're not really ready for it until it happens. You don't. Yes, you see a 90-year-old person that you have to do CPR on. You're like, oh, they're at the end of their life. Okay, it might be like, dang, that's kind of messed up. But when you see a little kid with their head cut off or something like that, or a little kid squashed like a bug, or just all type of stuff, you're not ready for that.
Yeah.
That we're human beings,
Yeah.
and that affects people different. It affects everyone differently, because someone could relate that person to a family member, because that's what happened to us. Like, we both had children at that time, or family members that looked exactly like that little boy, and that's why it touched everyone. That's why it touched a lot of people, and it just, I don't know, this job can be difficult sometimes, and we don't have the resources to basically like lend a helping hand to each other
it's definitely better than
help,
what it was. And there's a lot of people that don't know the resources that we have.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
Yeah, we do have resources, but it's not
enough.
It's not enough.
Yeah,
well, here's
we're
my
still,
thing.
We're still in that infancy stage and still building. Where
The
we should
resources that we do have, and that a lot of departments have, there's more than there was in the past.
Mm-hmm.
We can all agree on that.
No.
The problem that I have, and the thing that I see, is they are not activated.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like, okay, hey, guys,
or you don't know how to activate it.
We have these resources here.
It should be automatic.
Yeah. It shouldn't need somebody from the crew to call this person, who then has to call this person, who then has to call this person for something to happen. It should be the leadership, because they listen.
Right.
They hear all of that stuff of, they ran a bad call.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. I'm in the chief's office.
They should automatically activate
It
that.
should automatically be, hey, we're going to go check on them. We're going to bring such and such with us.
Because if you don't, that leads back to us, remember, being raised like a man, and holding everything in. We're not going to tell you that we need help.
Yeah.
So that's why it needs to be activated.
Yeah.
Primarily by the higher ups or someone that's in charge. Because
and I think
the workers not going to do it themselves.
Yeah. So, but here's the deal. Obviously, we can't rely on admin to do that kind of stuff.
But it should be their job.
It should be their job.
It is their job.
But they're dropping the ball.
Right.
Right? In departments all over the country, they're dropping the ball. So what needs to happen? Senior leaders, like yourself,
company officers,
and senior firefighters need to take the initiative and start being leaders and doing those type of things. Like, if something happens that's messed up, you run a bad call, something like that, if you're a driver, you go to if your captain doesn't say anything, you go to your captain, hey, look, we need to do this.
Yeah.
This is what needs to happen now for these guys. Yeah. And then
peer support group, they work.
Yeah, they
Peer
do.
support group, they work. I think you're sitting down with some, like, basically a group of people that's been through the same thing you've been through, that has the same pain, that has the same everything. Like there's a lot of times where you sit there and you cry with the guys in the group together and let that mess out.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes. Because if you don't, it's just going to build up, and then it's just going to end bad. We have a lot of guys that we know that we've been with that committed suicide after all the years of the bullshit and all the calls they ran and the shit that happens at home. It's not just the station stuff.
No, there's real life too.
There's real life we had to deal with at home also. And my thing is, if you're messed up already because of station life, you can't deal with what's going on at home, because you still have to worry about. We all have basically wives, or girlfriends, and they're emotional too, and they want us to be there as an emotional support, and we can't be there for our damn selves. And that's the problem, is that we need something as. I'm not just saying that just men firemen, but women firemen also. We need something to combat that mental, that emotional hurt, I should say, that we get from calls. And that's what it builds. I'm not talking about just running 18, EMS calls. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's screwed up. You're not gonna go home and beat your wife or go kill yourself because you done ran too many calls. It's the calls that you just cannot stop thinking about. That call where that father then shot his mom and wife and daughter and all this stuff. You just see kids laying out everywhere. Those calls you never forget.
Yeah. Well, and I will say this though, you run that call,
yeah,
and that's call number 18.
Yeah.
So you're already sleep deprived.
You're right.
I mean, it all plays a factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it a bunch. And I mean, I know you've seen it since you've been on the job. What's our call volume done in the past 10, 15
For
years?
EMS go up. EMS has went up a lot. And it's mostly mental illness stuff.
A lot of
it is mental illness. There's not a lot. I haven't seen, because I got off the ambulance a long time ago, but
trucks don't run EMS.
Right.
You gotta get with them truckmen rest, man.
We still getting our cardiac arrest and all that stuff. Cardiac arrest, normal, just BS calls, but a lot of it is mental illness. Mm-hmm. A lot of it's crazy people that need help. Not even crazy. I shouldn't say that word. It's mental illness. And my thing is, it needs to be treated, and that's what we fall short on. Not even on the fire department, but society-wise. Yeah. So yeah, it's
because we don't talk about it.
Don't want to talk about it, and don't want to do.
You don't want to pull that curtain.
Well,
back
no
and
one
see
wants
what
to
the
step up and do
is.
what's right. I just told you, bring back the hospitals.
And here's the thing, though. I don't think it's that nobody wants to talk about it, because I think it's getting talked about. I think it's just getting talked about in the wrong way. Like, I'm sure you both heard the saying of, it's okay to not be okay, right? And we've talked about it on this show, right? That's true. Yeah. But what's not okay
is not treating. Not getting help.
Exactly. You have to address it. Yeah. It's just like, and I don't know if you got the same speech whenever you came through the academy that we did about putting your emotions in a shoebox and you could have them back when you get home from work, but you don't bring them to work with you.
Something like it. Yeah.
You got a version of that speech, right?
Don't take it home.
Yeah.
Leave it at the station. Yeah.
So that's a version, a half-assed, incomplete version of compartmentalization. Yeah. Right? And that's kind of how we've been talking about mental health in this country for a while now is, it's okay to not be okay. Okay, well, that's only part of the conversation. Yeah. The other part is you got to do something about it.
Mm-hmm. Seek help.
Yeah. We're very good at having half conversations. Mm-hmm. We got to have the full conversation.
Right.
And I don't know if it's social media or just the way our society has shifted, but we don't.
Nobody wants to have the hard conversation.
Nobody wants to have the long conversation. Everybody wants a 5-second soundbite.
Well, yeah, there's that too. But if you have that long conversation, it's going to be hard. Right. You're going to piss people off. Mm-hmm. You're definitely going to offend people,
and it shouldn't be that way.
And then you get canceled.
Thing about it is, a lot of people, instead of going towards like social media and trying to put out something like that's, to a bigger population, people need to start at home. people need to start with their kids, their husband, their wives, their close friends, their family members, because that's where it starts. Everything starts at home. It's hard to talk to someone at work and be like, "Oh man, I seen you been down lately, man. What's going on?" They'll be like, "Who the fuck are you?" I'm not gonna share my business with someone at work. But if you have a close friend of yours say, "Hey man, man, I've been seeing you. You've been going through a lot lately, man. I'm here," or I've been seeing you going through a lot lately. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's sit down. Hey, come on. I'm taking you out to dinner. I'm taking you out to lunch. Let's talk. Whatever's on your mind, get it off your chest and all that stuff, because I see that you're going downhill. I see that something's going on with you. You know your family. You know your friends. You know that there's something that's not right with them. And it's always after they hurt themselves or hurt someone else, you're like, I wish I would have said something. Mm-hmm. I wish I would have said it was okay to tell me anything, or I wish I would just went over there and talked to them. It's too late. And my thing is, we start at home. We're a lot of people are so worried about social media and getting on there and saying, "Oh, I want to show people what I know, and I'm gonna put this out to everyone," and they forget about it at home first. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with the United States. As we're sitting here, we're too busy helping so many other people outside the United States. We have people here that need help. That needs help, from homeless to mental illness, everything. And all the trillions and billions of dollars that we're sending overseas could be used right directly here to help everyone.
Even a fraction,
of it, yes,
would go a long way to fixing a lot of these issues.
Of stuff. So,
and
I agree.
What was it Michael Jackson said? If you want to make a change,
look at the man in the mirror.
Start with the man in the mirror.
There you go.
So I don't disagree with you. I agree with you 100%. But what I will tell you, what I have found, whenever you talk about changing culture, mm-hmm. like especially within like the fire service or anything like that, there's a saying, it's hard to be a prophet in your hometown. Mm-hmm. And that's a saying because it's true.
Right.
And we had Rick Booker on the podcast. Mm-hmm. He wrote a book. Great dude, but he does all these speaking engagements, does all this stuff talking about all of the things that he went through on being in the fire service. They won't give him the time of day at his department that he spent over 20 years at. They just don't want to hear it. And maybe it's just too close or whatever, but sometimes it takes an outside perspective and an outside source for people to make that change.
Right.
But
proactive, they're reactive, not proactive.
Yeah.
Basically, they're waiting to someone hurt themselves to say, you know what, we need to step up and let's bring someone on, or let's bring someone in to talk to these guys.
Yeah.
Because they actually need help.
Yeah.
And that's our society. So it's
well, and
difficult.
that's the fire service in general. Everything we do is reactive.
Right.
Well, then you start getting to the image, and you don't want your image tarnished by not doing anything when something happens.
Yeah.
So now our hand is forced. Or if you would have just done it to begin with, your image is fine,
we could
have saved some lives, maybe.
You mean like what I was talking about earlier about implementing programs for mental health and physical fitness and all that stuff?
Yeah, pat yourself on the back. We got it.
I mean, it's not often that I get to, throw something back in his face a little bit, but, I'm going to take the opportunity to say, I told you so.
So he can't really reach because he doesn't stretch. He just works out.
Bro.
That's funny.
It's like Jeremy scratched back your head. He's like, I can't. I'm so massive and huge that I can't get back there.
Dude, it's not my fault.
It's always somebody else's.
Yeah.
Jeremy Green, 101. Pass the buck.
I stretch a lot. Not as much as I should, though.
I don't think any of us do.
Yeah. I will say that I went to this place called Stretch Zone, where you have like other people. It's assisted stretching. So you actually have like a physical therapist like stretch you and stuff. It was fantastic, but
that was my favorite part of physical therapy after surgery was them.
Yeah.
Because my hips were locked. After each one, they were locked. And the stretching was awesome.
Yeah.
Having somebody who's professionally trained in it, it's completely different.
Yeah. Well, and they can just get you into like positions where you're actually doing it right and not half-assing it. So I could definitely tell the difference. Like my right leg was a lot better.
Or having that little bottle opener tool they got. Is that like
Graston tool. Yeah.
That thing's awesome. Hurts like a mother, but
Yeah.
when it's done, you're like, yes.
Well, it breaks up all the fascia.
Yeah.
So
Didn't feel too good on the hip though.
no, it kind of sucks.
Or in the scar when the incision's healed and they like, all right, scar tissue time. I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and head on home. You guys have a good day.
So count me out. Count me out today, please.
Yeah.
It's not like you can get out that quick when you're on crutches still.
On a walker with his tennis
Right.
balls.
I did have one of those too.
Oh, I know.
It worked. Mm-hmm. They sucked. You know your armpits would get raw from all the crutches, man. You got to switch it up.
Hey, man.
Or the motion machine when it would stretch you out. All it did was bend my knee back and forth on my hip. That thing was awesome.
See, I wish I would have had that whenever I had my original knee surgery, but
Yeah.
it wasn't even a thing back in '95. So
I'm pretty sure now with the knee surgery, you get one of those too.
yeah. Everybody that I know that's had the same
great.
surgery, the ACL surgery that I had. In fact, I don't even know that they do that one anymore. But like it's within, I guess they wake up in recovery with their leg in that fucking machine moving.
I did with my hips.
So
Thing was, like I said, they're great. Start breaking that scar tissue up. I think you heal better. Definitely have more flexibility and mobility quicker. But because it was like a week and I was already at the max. Just 6 hours a day. That's the only part that sucked.
that's a long time, seems like.
But, you know, I'd break it up. You got to a point where I would go to sleep in it.
I mean, if you can sleep in that thing.
I mean, you slept when you could because
Yeah.
you couldn't lay on your side or your stomach. You had to lay on your back all day and all night. Or sit in the chair. So it sucked. So
Yeah.
you slept when you got it, and usually that thing put me to sleep. You could do 2-hour increments. You could do 3. You could do 4. Yeah, you can do however you want as long as you got 6 hours in that 24 hours.
So what's next for you, DJ? What's next for the shop, or what do you got planned?
So my plan right now, since our range burnt up, of find a new range, find a new home for Franklin Firearms to do our training, do all our classes. Well, we do our classes in the shop, but we really like to find a place to call home for our range.
Up north.
Wouldn't be up north. I mean,
North.
it takes a little while to get here. Which this wasn't
Yeah, I know.
bad.
It takes a while to get to.
This wasn't bad. But we are looking out south, which I guess is about the same. It's about 30 minutes both ways from the shop. But I just grew up out south, so
I know.
It's
the
kinda-
air's cleaner up here.
it is.
Yeah.
You can tell when you got.
It looked really good up here. It's
You
really
saw how
nice.
bright it was. You're like,
It's so
man.
bright. It's. I saw birds.
Yeah.
We don't have birds out south.
You cross that river, and all of a sudden you're like, man, I'm really happy.
So just so you know, DJ, there's a house right around
Right.
the corner that's for sale right now. So
Right.
I'm throwing that out there.
There's a house in my neighborhood that's for sale.
See, I do like it up here. I did not, grow up out here. I mean, up here, I should say. And I don't know. I'm just so used to out south. So
Yeah.
the
Same
streets,
thing for
everything.
going. I wouldn't live south
Yeah.
because I lived up here most of my life.
So it's fun. I mean, we have cornfields too down there. They're a little dingy, but
Yeah, the corn's not as good tasting.
it's not as sweet. I have sweet corn up here. We have sour corn.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all ever had it before.
No. I will say this though, for the south part of the city is it's easier to get out of the city.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially for because I do off-roading and stuff, and
Yeah.
so I'm always headed south for
yeah.
the most part.
Mhm.
So I got to drive all the way through the city.
Yeah.
And that's an hour trip
Mm-hmm.
before I even get anywhere.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
like if I live south, but I tried whenever we bought this house.
Yeah.
And my wife flat refused to
It's
look
nice.
at.
It's nice up here.
Yeah.
It's really nice. And they building new schools up here, and
Yeah.
I mean, new school becomes like new teachers, new curriculum, all that stuff. It just, I like
It's
the,
not
I like
always
the,
all it's cracked up to be. I can tell you from experience.
I like the ideal of moving up here.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever moved up north though. So,
I don't blame you.
but if I find some nice property up here, I wouldn't basically dismissed the.
Or you have two. You double your money.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
So my plan is to have 3 gunshots before I move to Florida or either Texas, whatever I move at.
Texas.
So I have about a 6-year plan. Hopefully it works out. It was 5, but I had this year ain't working out right now. So basically it's 6 years from now, not 5 years. So, but hopefully I'll have 2 more shops up and running. So one out south. I'm already out east, so one out south, one up north. So
Yeah.
I don't mind helping out with the one up north.
Oh yeah, so it's gonna be all firemen ran. So I only trust firemen. And I
You're trusting.
I trust. So look, my thing, I trust firemen over family. So my thing is, I trust the guys I worked with for years. Because I'm with them every 3 days. I'm not with my family. Extended family for every 3 days. I see them every couple of months, maybe every couple of years, and that's why I choose firemen over family. So
Yeah.
because firemen are my family. The ones I work with, at least,
Yeah.
So not everyone is family. Just let y'all know.
So here in a few months, I'm out.
Yeah.
Well, I got an idea for you, a business proposition.
Yeah.
Like if you do move your stuff to Texas,
Yeah.
aerial hog hunting.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out
Yeah.
there.
So I actually was talking to someone. I think I was talking to you yesterday about the pilot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my thing is, I want to get my pilot license. So especially for a helicopter and basically small like prop planes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that will be on the list of some things that I want to do.
Services you could provide down there.
Now, if let's see, if I have to choose between aerial hog hunting and having my explosive license and doing tanks, I'm gonna choose tanks. Just the money. It takes money to do everything.
Yeah,
If it takes
tanks.
I would do tanks before I get my pilot's license because
Sorry, I'll get my.
I'll teach myself
and retire.
how to drive tanks. I don't need someone to teach me. I just have to spend the money to get the license for the explosives, to the explosives license. See, so yeah, that's one of my big goals is to have every license for everything I need to have everything.
How much does a tank cost?
Oh,
And where do you even buy a tank?
So I mean, so the cheapest thing I've seen was like $400,000. It's online. You get them shipped here just like everything else. So you get them shipped.
It's on Amazon.
No, it's not. So there's actually websites that you can buy a tank. You could buy. So the United States government would not sell anyone inside United States tanks. You actually have to go overseas, purchase them. We don't have to go overseas, but go over online, find the company overseas, purchase it, and they'll ship it here for you. So basically, it wouldn't be like, I wouldn't say it would be like demilled, I should say, but it wouldn't work. It wouldn't, like the turret
Yeah.
would not be able to fire. You have to actually get a mechanic to go in and make it work. And as long as you have the license for the ammunition, you can shoot it. So, because it's not illegal to own a tank. You can own a tank. You can own a tank right now without a license. If you have the money, you could buy a tank. Period. The thing about it is getting the ammo for the tank.
Yeah.
So, normal machine guns that's equipped, on a tank, that's easy to get the ammo for. It's the ammunition that goes out the big turret that go boom. The ones that explode. So
I don't care what anybody says.
License.
We still live in the greatest country in the world.
we do. Yes.
So see, we start the business for the hog hunting, and then we partner up.
Yes. Yep. So
you
get the helicopters.
I mean, you ever flown in a helicopter and watched them fly it?
No.
That shit's complicated. It's both hands and both feet working at the same time.
That's not bad. I think I could do that. I think I broke my ankle before, and I had to use my other foot to control shit like for like months.
I don't know, like it's a pedal.
I
That
think I
both
could
feet
do
go
that.
on, and
Yes.
each one does one, and then each hand does
The
something
rotor,
else.
left, right,
Yeah.
and then I could do that.
But if I get a pilot's license for a helicopter, I want to get trained by a guy who flew in Vietnam because they're insane, and that's a ride. And for a hog hunt, like, all right, I'm going to tilt this thing all the way to the right. I want to be taught by Murdoch, basically. For I want that guy teaching me. All right, they're going to tell you you can't do this,
But you can.
but watch.
You can. Yes. Yeah, I think it would be nice though to have something like that.
Yeah.
Because there's people there's people in the United States that have all those things, So, and it's absolutely legal to have, So, yes, you have to pass background checks and all that stuff, which is normal, but I think it'd be neat, and necessary.
So, what? That begs the question. What would you do with it? Like, I mean,
I'll practice. I'll get good at it. I'll be one of the best tank drivers in the nation, and I'll have fun.
Then we'll start competitions.
I wouldn't. What I would do is I wouldn't let no one know I would have. Like you guys probably know. My buddies. Well, I will say this: if I did start acquiring tanks, I'll turn to a business thing where I'll let people come down, drive the tanks around the course, and then pull up to basically a tank range, and shoot off. But it costs money,
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. Is how you going to turn that into a business?
I already got my business plan already made. Like you could ask. So there's guys we work with. All right, there's people that I.
Then you got to have a mechanic on staff too. Though.
Yeah, you're right.
Diesel mechanic.
You have people that are close to you that you let invest, and you always try to help out your family or friends and try to get them in early. This is like if I owned Tesla when Tesla was nothing, it'll be all my friends that was there with me building this company up, and that's what I'm about. So I'm real big on just brotherhood, family brotherhood, and just building community. So anyone that surrounds me with them, and I do the same. It's just we're brothers. So yeah, and we all supposed to lift each other up mentally and physically. Like hey man, if something's going wrong, we're supposed to be there for each other. So that's what brotherhood should be.
Yeah.
So
yep,
absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Final thoughts.
Oh, I got something.
Sure.
So, I just want to state this real quick that.
Talking to Mike.
Oh, sorry. Help is available for people that's out there that's having emotional issues, mental or physically. Always talk to someone. Family, friends, even close co-workers could lend a helping hand or a helpful thought. But I always say this is there is a suicide and crisis lifeline. They used to call it a hotline. Now it's a lifeline, and you could call 988 now instead of calling a 1-800 number. So anyone could dial 988 from their cell phone and get linked to someone quickly. You actually get linked to someone quicker than you do if you call 911 for help. So 988 is the text number, and then the call number, and then you could text 988 also, and someone will text you back. So, and that's for suicide. That's for you having crazy thoughts, not just suicide, but any type of thoughts of harming yourself or other people, or if you're just lonely and you're just down, if you need someone to talk to, because that leads to having emotional issues also, that number's there for you. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
I believe it. We'll leave it with that. We will leave it with that. God damn it. We will leave it with that. There we go. Got it out.
Got it out.
Well, I appreciate you guys for inviting me on today.
Well, thanks for coming, DJ.
Hey,
I
no
appreciate
problem.
it, man.
No problem.
This
was really good.
Fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Do it again.
I would love to come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Jeremy
Absolutely.
pack up all the stuff, and then we'll travel
Oh no,
to your shop.
It's not. Hey, look, we can host in the shop one day. So
Okay.
I would love to do a podcast over guns and basically like a safety deal and all that stuff, and like just a podcast over.
We talk safety.
Yeah.
Some of us went through the course.
Yeah.
Have our certification.
Yeah. Gun safety. And,
This is my safety.
Yeah.
So Jeremy's not allowed to be in the business. He's the guy we're tackling at the range. Like, hey, quit doing stupid shit, asshole.
Right.
I mean, you don't just wave it around.
Oh yeah, we can't flag people. But,
No desk pops.
No. Well, maybe if your desk is at the range.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Hey, if you are struggling, reach out. There are resources out there for you. He just told you one. There's links in the show notes for them. If you know somebody that's struggling, reach out. Let them know you care. Let them know what the resources are. And thanks again for DJ coming on the show. Really appreciate it. And thanks for Chris here and actually being engaged today. It was refreshing as he sets texting for the last time. And
Facebook
Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, I was looking to see maybe selling their guns. Somewhere we can pick some up cheap here and have some fun.
All right, everybody. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.